Welcome, Pinecrest Academy, Cadence Campus, elementary families to the 2020-2021 school year. This will no doubt be one for the history books. Let's start with our mission and vision. Pinecrest Academy unites the community to prepare students for college and career. This mission remains at the center of all of our decisions, and we are excited to unite with you in a way that we never have united with you before in order to make sure that your children and our children are educated during this time. Our vision: students achieve at the highest level on all academic measures. We are proud that our students continue to show phenomenal growth even during the shutdowns this past year. Let's look at some of that. As our returning families know, we still took the iReady test. iReady test 3 times during the year acts as a predictor of how well we're going to do on the SBAC. Of course, we removed outliers of students who grew way too high, indicating that maybe they had a little help on their iReady test. After taking all of those factors into consideration, as well as our averages for things like attendance and other growth points within the first semester, we were able to come up with a predictive score of how we would have done had we been tested within the SBAC. All things were considered, and I'm proud to announce that our elementary school would have received an 89.5 or a 5-star rating for this past school year had we been able to receive our star rating. Very proud of our community, and thank you so much for the hard work that went into the end of last school year, and we look forward to continuing along that pathway this year. As many of you know, we had to make the very difficult decision to remain full virtual at this time. I hope that many families understand that this was not our preference. We want your students in school. Many of our faculty and staff are also parents and opted to have their students in the hybrid world should we have been allowed to. So we empathize with what families are going through during these very difficult times. We have made the decision as a Pinecrest system with the board, of course, to remain in the virtual platform for the period of 1 month at this time. This will allow for proper guidelines to be put out by the state, as well as further guidance based on the data within our local community. We want to thank you in advance for your patience, and hopefully that helps you a little bit be able to plan for some of the childcare needs that you will no doubt have. This also caused us to change one important thing to the students' daily schedule. When we were going to be in the hybrid platform, we had Wednesdays set aside for mostly blended learning. We are actually going to continue instructing your children on Wednesdays in the live settings just as if they were in school in order to maximize our time with them. If we switch back to the hybrid model, that will need to change in order to give us time to clean our buildings, as well as the teachers' time to plan for all the various cohorts. But while our entire community is in a virtual platform, we will keep a consistent schedule for your students and engage them and make sure that we are taking on the responsibility of checking for their understanding and teaching them the lessons so that you can focus on the things that you need to. Let's meet our staff. This is a phenomenal team of educators. They have worked all summer, switching gears the multiple times they've been asked to switch gears, and it has been difficult, but they take it in strides, and they do it because they genuinely love your children. They are positive, uplifting, upbeat, and work so hard for the teachers and the students, and I'm so proud to work alongside them. First, our assistant principal for K through 12, Miss Bridget Meekum. Our assistant principal for 3 through 5, Miss Brittany Ives. Miss Mandy Latham will be serving as our instructional coach. Miss Laronica Maurer will be continuing on as our Dean of Students. Miss Sherelle Freeman will be working as our safe school professional and continue to link families with important resources out in our community for all of the primary needs of our families. And Miss Sarah Peccolo is our special education facilitator for K through 12 and can continue to work with families that have needs beyond that which they can get their answers from their caseworkers. Elementary teachers are so excited to meet your students, and this starts with their introductory videos. When you go to this link, you will see in the coming days links to every grade level's videos. This is the main portion of our meet and greet. Have your students watch these videos and get to know their teachers. They'll go over some of the expectations within a classroom. They'll also be showing some of their character on those videos, and the students will get to kind of get to know who their teacher is prior to ever having to be in a live setting with them. I will tell you that some of the grade levels videos are a little bit long, but they're actually trying to replace things that we used to do, like 5th grade orientation. So it's important that you find time to watch that as a family so that you have a really good understanding of exactly where things are going this year. Try to watch those videos before Friday's meet and greet, because meet and greet's really just going to be a time to pop in, say hello to your teachers in the virtual platform, and ask any general questions that you may have. Most of those questions, though, are going to be answered on those videos. So please make sure you go to that link and get to know your teacher in advance. Here is our meet and greet schedule. This will be sent out to the community, so no worries if you don't get it within this presentation. But there are 2 identical times, AM and PM, on this Friday in order to pop in and meet your teachers. So go ahead and check those times out. Pop in, meet your teachers, say hello. General questions are fine. Definitely not a time for a one-on-one parent meeting during that time, but go and get any of that anxiety out with your students. Just wanted to share a few fun pictures. Our staff are keeping such good spirits during this time. They have made 0 excuses for coming in and working hard for your students. They are following all social distancing and masking guidelines in order to be here working hard for your students. And most of all, they still are finding the laughter and the joy in the preparations during this time. So just a shout out to the incredible educators of Pinecrest Cadence. I'm proud to work with you. As we move through this presentation, I have removed many slides from our traditional meet and greet shows. Slides such as Teams Care, athletics, field trips, all sorts of things that we can't quite do at this time. There are still some slides that have relevant information though, and so I've simply put a yellow circle cross out over any information that doesn't pertain during this COVID time, as well as yellow print throughout our slides if it's an addition because of COVID. So please look for the yellow things as being specific to this COVID timeline. I want parents to understand the primary ways in which we communicate as a school. A lot of our families get pretty comfortable with Facebook and then wonder how they missed something because it wasn't on Facebook. Please keep in mind that our primary forms of communication are our Cougar column, which there's a link on our homepage, emails, Infinite Campus, websites, and parent impact meetings. Parent impact meetings are meetings that administration hosts at least once a month and sometimes more frequently, especially during times like this. And in which case we give you current state of the school and any updates that might be relevant during that time. Secondary forms are going to be your social media and other platforms like Class Dojo. So please be in tune with those primary forms, and the only one impacted during this time is in-person conferences. I also want to offer some norms. It's important that our parents communicate directly with the source in any case possible. We want to make sure that we give all of the answers we can, but also understand that sometimes those answers come from very specific people on our campus. So we encourage all parents to go to the primary source, which is often the teacher first. There are grade level chairs. If you haven't heard back from your teacher, please put that on their radar. Those are all listed on our website. And then of course the assistant principals are here to serve, and I am as well. Just keep in mind that administrators are often getting 180 to 200 emails a day. And so please don't be offended if we point you in the right direction, and we will do so, of course, as quickly as we can. We all have a common goal, and that's our students. So let's keep our communication positive, solution-oriented, and really work together to get the needs of our students taken care of. Attendance. Attendance is a little tricky during this time because, of course, we're in the remote world. However, I did preemptively prepare our community that students will be expected to be in the live platforms just as if they were in school. Many parents have concerns about childcare and, they're going to be at their aunt's house or their grandparents' house. And we understand, but we actually feel that so long as they can get on the internet, which 98% of our community can, We need them in their classes, and it actually relieves some of the stress of those caregivers because we are the ones engaging them during that time, and that person isn't trying to not only teach the child but keep up with their schedule. So we would encourage you to put your children on their remote live instruction time periods, and we will be taking attendance. Elementary attendance, especially K through 4, is what I'm referencing right now because they do not go to a period schedule. K through 4 attendance is taken AM and PM in a traditional school day. We will be taking our AM attendance, of course, because that is the time where most of their remote live instruction is. So students will need to be there within the first 60 minutes in order to be counted for attendance. If they show up after attendance is taken, they will receive a tardy. This will show up in their Infinite Campus. So attendance will be taken at the beginning. If they show up anytime after attendance is taken up to 60 minutes, they will be counted tardy. If they show up after 60 minutes to their remote live instruction blocks, they will be counted absent. Also, if they sign off early, they will be counted absent, just as if you pulled your child out from school. So please be aware that teachers are the ones that will release your children from their remote live instruction, or else we will need to count that as an absence. So please, keep these things in mind, and those policies can be found within our handbooks as well. Too many absences could impact your child's progression to the next grade level and will certainly have an impact on their ability to keep up with their testing and other assignments that they will have during this time. Grades count, so we need your students here. Now, 5th grade attendance follows a little bit closer to our secondary attendance. 5th grade has condensed their direct instruction down to a morning similar to K through 4, but their attendance is taken in each period. Therefore, students need to show up right at the beginning of each of their periods, which you'll receive a schedule for their remote live instruction. If they show up after attendance is called, within the first 10 minutes, they will be counted tardy. If they show up to that period after 10 minutes, they will be counted absent. Furthermore, if they log off prior to their teacher releasing them, they will be switched to an absence. So it's important, again, that you block out these times for your children and have them engaging with their teachers so their teachers have a grasp of where they're at in their understanding and can continue to give them their direct instruction lessons during this time. Reporting attendance. We know that students may still have doctor appointments, dentist appointments, and sometimes be feeling sick. So if they cannot attend their classes and you would like that attendance to be considered for an excused absence, please report this on the website. There's a button on our website that states report attendance. Simply click on the button, submit the appropriate evidence or information needed, and if it falls in line with our excused absence attendance policy, we will absolutely get that filed for you. Be here on time every day. This is a logo I show every year. We have it on t-shirts. It's a sentiment we share every single year. We need your students in class on time every day. That includes in virtual classes. If they're not in their classes, we cannot teach them, and that's what we're here for. So set their environments up for success and get them logged on, and that way you can actually focus on what you need to get done as well. Now, there are some virtual camera policies. These can be found within our handbook, but I want to go over 3 important policies at this time. First, students need to utilize their student logins in order to get onto Zoom. If students do not have their first and last name displayed, they cannot enter the class. Teachers will simply ask them to make sure their name is corrected, and if they don't, they will be marked absent from the class and their camera will be turned off. So please make sure that you prepare your students to log in, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in the coming slides. Next is acceptable clothing. So here's how this will work. We highly encourage our students to just go ahead and wear their uniform shirt. It cuts out all the questioning of whether or not they're in the right clothes. However, they are permitted to wear free dress if it falls within our free dress guidelines. When we are taking attendance, if a teacher notices that a student is not dressed appropriately, the student will be asked to go and change. If they do not change or they do not return from changing, their camera will be turned off and they will be marked absent from the class. This will be an unexcused absence, so we need your children prepared to be on camera in appropriate clothing. The full free dress policy can be found within our handbook. The last one is appropriate backgrounds. Now this has a few different levels. Of course, we're asking for an appropriate background if they add some sort of virtual background to Zoom, which is fine. Some students don't want you seeing into their household or just are more comfortable with a virtual background. This is fine as long as the background is not distracting and acceptable and has nothing inappropriate on it, and a teacher may make that call. Now, this is not a place where you want to have any sort of political statements or anything like that on your background. Just simple backgrounds are acceptable. Furthermore, make sure that parents are not lingering or other activity is going on behind your child that will distract the class. So it's best that you set up your student with a very plain background, free from distraction, maybe a wall or a bookshelf, the best you can. It's definitely also very important that our parents not sit there and hover over our students. Now we know, especially for our little ones, they're going to need a little bit more guidance and support. But encourage that independence as much as possible. I sat next to my 2nd-year-old last year during some of his instruction, but I didn't come on camera. I didn't interrupt class, and I didn't ask the teacher questions during that time. That's his job. And so I would encourage him sometimes to ask questions. Or if I knew that he had questions already for that lesson that was coming up or from a lesson from the day before, he and I would write down those questions so that he could still be the one to ask them. So in any way, shape, or form that you can, especially as we're entering the intermediate grade levels, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, please encourage independence and students to advocate for themselves and really interfere with the classes as least amount possible with our parents. Our free dress policy is pictured here and can be found in our parent-student handbook. Blended learning. This is a term that we have been using for years at Pinecrest, and I am so grateful that our community holistically is already comfortable with this terminology. These are programs that we already used in the technological setting. So while there's a whole multitude of programs that we utilize, they all kind of fall under the blended learning methodology. And while it's not the same as remote live instruction, it is a way for us to engage students in digital platforms. So one example is iReady. iReady is a platform that we utilize in order to help students target exactly what their needs are and how to best address those needs. So if you are a returning family, you recall that we did our iReady testing in the spring from home. We are going to continue utilizing this platform to that end. It is most important that parents do not assist your children with iReady during the diagnostic or during their pathway. It only makes it harder for them. It's very important that the iReady diagnostic is able to target exactly what your students' levels are. And therefore, if you help them, they test too high and their pathway for the next several months is too hard for them. So when it is time to iReady diagnostic, please remember that we do not grade the diagnostic. We simply need to be able to target where your students' levels are so that their gaps can be filled and their acceleration and their higher levels can be met. Now we know, as we have nearly 2,000 computers out of our building, that we will have technological issues along the way. So if you have a school issued computer or you end up needing one because something happens at home, we will be addressing these needs once school gets started every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the secondary building. You can email sadie@intellitech.net to address those issues, and we'll make sure that this information is regularly included on our parent newsletters. Teams. Now, while you see that most of this is blocked out for now, I want to point out a few important things. For any family that doesn't know, TEAMS is the acronym that we utilize in order to describe all programs that fall before or after school. Clubs, athletics, tutoring, sports, all of it falls under our TEAMS umbrella. Much of that we are not permitted to do at this time. So when we are, we'll go over that in more detail. But I wanted to point out two important facts that can be found within this slide as well. First is waiving fees. We have parents every single year who write very convincing emails and sometimes have what could be considered very legitimate reasons to ask our school to waive their fees. In no circumstance can we waive their fees. So please know that we do not waive fees unless the fee was made in error. But if any fees are applied for any reasons like the use of care in the future or classes, we cannot waive or reduce those, because what we can't do for one, we can't do for all. So it's an equitable issue at that point. Now, I will say that Pinecrest Cadence will continue to be a part of the solution wherever we can to help our families in need. We have been working for years to establish a partnership with the Urban League, which provides help and assistance for care for low-income families. Now, while we're not providing care at this time, when we are able to provide before and after school care, we are hoping that the Urban League systems are up and running for our school, and families with low income can apply for assistance for that care for when you need to work. So we're very proud to introduce that new partnership, and we look forward to getting you more information in the near future. All of the fees are on Infinite Campus. So anytime your child has a fee, you can find it on your child's account in Infinite Campus. I've marked out many of them for now because you wouldn't see them at this time. However, as they do come back online, you would see those in your Infinite Campus. The only thing school related that really can't be paid through Infinite Campus is our PTO specific items that needs to be paid through PTO. Everything else is done through our Infinite Campus platform, and that looks like this. Simply look at the red arrows and you'll see the two ways that you can not only see your fee, but then connect your credit card and pay your fees directly through the Infinite Campus portal. I am so proud to work alongside PTO. We have been very fortunate to have so many families over the years sign up to get the Pinecrest Cadence PTO up and off the ground, to get us branded and to continue to throw high quality events within our community and get parent volunteers in our doors. PTO has worked so hard to build it from absolutely nothing and keep up with the growing K through 12. And this year's team continues to kill it. They are fantastic partners, and I am so proud to promote the PTO. Now, I want to talk about this partnership for a minute because this is going to be the way for families to get involved for now, and we need our families involved. Family involvement, parent involvement is the #1 thing that sets charter schools apart. It's because you get involved. It's because you care and you keep up with your child's education. And PTO is going to be the way to really get involved with helping this school. They are working alongside administration during this time. And as soon as school shut down back in spring, they immediately wrote on how they could help to be a part of the solutions. And I love that attitude. It fully embodies who we are at Pinecrest Cadence. How can we help? And that's exactly what they continue to do. So if we are able to come back in a hybrid platform, it's through PTO that you can volunteer in our building, because they will have very specific committees which will be approved in that type of hybrid setting to be allowed on campus. They're also looking for creative solutions to throw things like our Harvest Festival. Now, we know we can't have 5,000 people at our school like most years, but they are looking for really creative ways in order to throw a Harvest Festival like car loop style perhaps. And they are so excited to keep this community engaged. So if you're able to help out, please join our PTO. They are fantastic. Their information is on our website, and we need all the help we can get, even during these challenging times. Just one more shout out. Thank you, PTO, for being who you are, for being solution oriented, and for always coming to us and seeing how you can help. You are truly fantastic. All right, Principal LeNeave, what does all of this mean? Where do I even start on Monday? Well, let's talk about that. There is the virtual platforms and the virtual portal found on our website, and in that portal, you will find this schedule. Now, I know you probably can't see all the details of it in my slideshow, but you're going to be looking for it on our portal. This is the K through 5 daily schedule. We have outlined all of it for you. Exactly when you're going to be in remote live instruction and exactly when you're going to be working on the independent items that your children need to be working on. It gives them their lunch break, their recess breaks, their brain breaks during remote live instruction. Lots of parents are like, how are you going to keep a kindergartner engaged for 2 hours? These teachers are preparing for exactly that by building in brain breaks that they host the same way they would if your children were sitting in their classroom. So let our teachers guide them through their mornings, get their direct instruction in, and then in the afternoons, there's small group pullout time for students who need it. There's office hours, there's specialist office hours, and it's all laid out for you. Now, as you can see, this is again the K through 5 schedule. So you'll simply look for your grade level, paste that on every single, refrigerator of every caretaker that will be helping with your students, and make sure they know exactly when the students need to be working on what they need to be working on. We've really tried to make this very simple for our families. After that, you can go to the following places for the links to where they need to go. So the virtual classroom portal is what I was just referencing, where you'll find all the information that you need. This is your one-stop shop. You can find your schedules. You can find links to the various platforms that we're going to be using, or mostly the one platform, which is Clever. And then that will branch you out from there. So I also pointed out the iReady, because if you click on iReady or click on ST Math or any of those other blended learnings, they will take you directly to the Clever homepage. And so let me explain what Clever is. Clever is our single sign-on, meaning when our students sign on to Clever, this is going to be far more involved than last year. Last year, when you signed on to Clever, there were like 1 or 2 things there, and you still had to go navigate to Google Classroom and to Zoom and all of these other platforms. We have tried to simplify this for you this year in working with Clever. So now when your child logs on to Clever using first name, last name, at student.pinecrest.org and their student number. And for our younger ones, they may have their QR codes. Yes, last year's QR codes still work. When they log on to that, you are going to see so much more. You're going to see their teacher's classroom links. You're going to see links to all their blended learning. You're going to see links to their Zoom. We've tried to make it so easy. And you'll also see links to their Google Classroom. Once you get logged into all those platforms through Clever, it logs it in for you. So we're really excited to be working with Clever at this time to try to simplify the process by which students can go into their various platforms. What's coming next? Now, Wednesday, August 12th is Chromebook deployment. So any parents who need a Chromebook, feel free to come on Wednesday, August 12th, and we'll get you that technology from 8 to noon. In either building. On Friday, August 14th is our meet and greet, and that was the slide that I showed you before with your schedule, and they're also included here. We'll also send those out to the community, so no worries if you haven't caught that yet. On Monday, August 17th, this is the day that we come together to educate our children. It is so important, families. If I could urge one thing, it would be that you take care with your disposition during this time. That you make it a positive experience for your children. They will feel about it what you teach them to feel about it. So please gear your family up, that they are going to be with their teachers in the mornings, that they're going to be working through different activities in the afternoons, and that we are here for them and that you are there for them, that we are truly a team in their education. Let's unite together again in a way that we never have for our students. It's all about our attitude, and my teachers are ready for your students, so please get them ready for their teachers. This can be a very exciting and unique time that they will look back and talk about for generations to come. So let's just work together and get through this. On Tuesday, September 1st will be the day that you will be invited to campus in small groups, of course, to come and get the paper material or hard copy materials that you may need. This could include workbooks, agendas, all of the above. Now, I know that that's several days into school, maybe like 12 days into school, but originally we were going to be giving this out in the hybrid platform. On that day, there will not be assignments so that families can best prepare, and teachers will be helping to give out those materials. So just be prepared on Tuesday, September 1st to have you or a caretaker ready to come and retrieve the print materials that students will need to be successful within their platforms. So we will see you on that day. Here is again our meet and greet schedule. So again, we'll send that out. There's a morning session and an afternoon session for your grade levels. Feel free, they are identical sessions, so feel free to have your student pop into either one and say hello to their teacher during that time. I just want to once again remind you that we know this is difficult, and we know that many of you are facing hardships, and many of our staff are facing, you know, the anxieties as well, and they want your students. That's what they're in this for. We hire dedicated educators who get in this to change the lives of children. So thank you for being who you are. Thank you for continuing to be positive on our social media, for continuing to come together as a community to understand that none of us chose this, but we definitely are choosing to still show up every day for your students. Thank you for choosing Pinecrest. We know that you have a choice in your child's education, and we cannot thank you enough for trusting us with your child's education, especially during times like this. We cannot wait to welcome you back in person as soon as we can. But until that time, we welcome you to our virtual platforms, and we will continue to try to make this as seamless as possible. Welcome to the school year. We will see you on Friday.